Hi guys, sorry to interrupt your video. Just a quick plea, subscribe to my channel please. If you haven't done it already, subscribe. Tell your friends, subscribe. Thanks. How should you use lanes on a motorway? Right, well we all know by now. You can use the lane that has the least traffic. No. Keep to the left hand lane unless you're overtaking. Boom. That's the rule. Overtake using the lane that's closest. No. Stay in one lane until you reach your exit. No. There. I mean, this is just basic rules and you just got to demonstrate it. If you were to talk to a child and say to them how you use a motorway, say we drive on the left, any subsequent lanes for overtaking. And that's what they're checking. Do you appreciate that? When would you use an emergency refuge area on a smart motorway? In cases of emergency or breakdown. Yes. In fact, there are big signs everywhere that say emergencies or breakdowns only. If you think you'll be involved in a road rage incident, no. To stop and check where you are, no. To make a private phone call, no. On smart motorways, emergency refuge areas are built at the side of the hard shoulder. If you break down, try to get your vehicle into the refuge where there's an emergency telephone. The phone connects directly to a control centre. Remember to take care when joining the motorway, especially if the hard shoulder is being used as a running lane. Years. Because there's no long run, it's like a bus stop. It's a bit rubbish, frankly. Traffic officers. Here's one we prepared earlier. Ta-da-da, there she is, looking all very stern. What about them? Right, traffic officers operate on motorways and some primary routes in England and Wales. What are they authorised to do? Right, stop and arrest drivers who break the law. No, they aren't the police. They are not there to enforce the law. They are there to enhance or help the emergency services by directing traffic, things like that. Repair broken down vehicles on the motorway. No, they do not. That's what the AA is for. Issue fixed penalty notice. No, because again, that's a law. That's a legal thing. That's only police. Stop and direct anyone on a motorway. Yes, they can, because they're there as a traffic flow control type person. They also aid with clean-up and things like this when there's been an accident. So traffic officers don't have enforcement powers but are able to stop and direct people on motorways and some A-class roads. They operate in England and Wales and work in partnership with the police at incidents, providing a highly trained and visible service. They're recognised by an orange and yellow jacket and their vehicle has yellow and black markings. Just like that. As opposed to blue and yellow, which is the coppers. Ooh, look, it's a red X. You're on a smart motorway. What does it mean when a red cross is displayed above the hard shoulder? Well, we know this one because we just did it. Pull up in this lane to answer it. What the hell? Use this lane as a running lane. No, it's shut. This lane can be used if you need a rest. No, you shouldn't travel in this lane. Correct, it's shut. Some motorways have been redesigned as smart motorways. At certain times the hard shoulder will be open as a running lane. However, a red cross above a hard shoulder shows that it isn't open as a running lane and should only be used for emergencies and breakdowns. You're on a smart motorway. What does it mean when a mandatory speed limit is displayed above a hard shoulder? That one. Well, we've seen that already in one of the pictures. You shouldn't travel in this lane? No. Of course you can. You're just restricted to 50 miles an hour. The hard shoulder can be used as a running lane. Yes, it can. You can park. No, you can't. You can pull up with it. No, you can't. So if it's got a number above it, you can use it. If it's got an X, you can't. And if it's not lit, none of them are lit, then it's just not allowed to be in it. Okay. How do smart motorways prevent traffic bunching? Right, by variable speed limits. That's how they do it. Right, it's traffic flow at the end of the day. Everybody tailgates. The majority of people tailgate. They drive way too close to the vehicle in front. And what happens is, in free-flowing traffic, if a car did a lane change and pulled in front of another one, that car would brake. Now, because the car behind is driving too close, he will then get too close to that car and he will have to brake more than the first car broke. And the third car will have to brake more than the second, and the fourth will have to brake more than the third, and so on and so forth. Right. Multiply that by 1,000 cars at rush hour, and the motorway comes to a stop. So if you've ever been on a motorway and the traffic stops for absolutely no reason whatsoever, it's because of tailgating. People drive too close to the vehicle in front and have to brake extra. Now, if we use a variable speed limit, what it does is it creates an average speed. So the distance between one point and another, the time it took you to get that across that distance is calculated, and therefore they work out what your speed is. So because you can't gain any advantage of trying to push somebody out of the way or get past and all the rest of it and bunch up, everybody is in the same position. We're all doing 50 miles an hour. Therefore, people tend to drop back because there's no benefit being close to the vehicle in front. I mean, there is no benefit to being close to a vehicle in front anyway, but people, it sort of knocks it onto people's heads that, you know, chill out, you're in a variable speed limit, so therefore just drive at a safe distance. And because everybody's driving at the same speed, people aren't trying to cut around and do lane changes and accelerate and overtake and all that sort of stuff, then you don't get that phantom braking and stopping at the end, phantom roadworks as it were. It just doesn't happen. So I used to work around the M25 down in somewhere. No, you'll come to me. It's got the Pantiles in it. Doesn't matter. Anyway, around the M25 down in Kent, and it's a 70-mile journey every day that I used to do, and I could get to work 20 minutes quicker when they were doing motorway widening and they had reduced the speed limit to 50 than when they took the speed limit away and it was running at 70, purely because in traffic, in rush hour, traffic stop-starts all the time. So variable speed limits have a massive impact. They also reduce your blood pressure, you're more relaxed, more chilled out, better quality driving. They're good. You get places faster by having a reduction in speed. They're really good. What helps to reduce traffic bunching on a motorway? Ooh, variable speed limits. Bing! Contraflows, national speed limit, out of lane. No. For exactly the reason I've just told you. When may you stop on a motorway? If you have to read a map? No. When you're tired and need rest? No. If your mobile phone rings? No. In an emergency or breakdown? Correct. Or if directed by a traffic officer, highways agency or motorway police. What's the national speed limit for a car or motorcycle on a motorway? Well, we know that. That's 70. Or 60 if you're towing. National speed limit for a car or motorcycle on a motorway is 70. Lower speed limits may be enforced, for example, at roadworks. Variable speed limits also operate in some areas when the motorway is very busy. Cars or motorcyclists towing trailers are subject to a lower speed limit. Yeah, 10 mile an hour lower. You stop on the hard shoulder of a motorway and use the emergency telephone. Where's the best place to wait for help to arrive? Right, so there we go. Next to the phone, reasonable so they can find you. Well away. Although you should actually be with your vehicle. You should be with your vehicle, but not in it. You should be over the shoulder. You know, the crash barrier thing. All right. So, because you might have broken down with your vehicle, then walked to the telephone, which could be half a mile away, and then people turn up at your car and you're still standing at the telephone. So you really ought to be with your vehicle, but not in it, unless you feel as though you are in danger from another road user.
Oh, no way, man.
Well, all right, with your vehicle away from the carriageway. I did say that. So you've got to be near it so they can find you, but away from the carriageway.
Bloody hell. They caught you out.
It's the same thing. I mean, you don't want to be near the telephone, but you do want to be away from the carriageway. You don't want to be in your car. So let's see what they've got. When you're on the hard shoulder, you're at risk of being injured by motorway traffic. Yes. The safest place is away from the carriageway, but near enough to the emergency services arising. Yes, what I said, basically. All right. So you need to be with your vehicle, but away from the carriageway. So I suppose you could argue that that is the important one, because at least you'll be alive. But it's both, actually, the answer. So disgusting. You're on a motorway. What must you do if there's a red cross showing above every lane? You must stop. You are not allowed to pass a red cross. So pull onto the hard shoulder, slow down and watch for further signals. Leave at the next exit, stop and wait. Stop. The motorway has been shut. That's what that is. Red cross signals above all lanes means you must stop and wait. Don't change lanes and don't try to continue any further along the motorway. You're on a smart motorway. What does it mean if a red cross is showing above the hard shoulder and mandatory speed limits above all other lanes? Right, so what this means is you are subject to a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit. The left-hand lane, or the hard shoulder, is shut, but you can stop in it for an emergency. So the hard shoulder can be used as a rest area if ever. No, the hard shoulder is for emergency or breakdown use only. Correct. The hard shoulder can be used as a normal running lane. No, it can't. The hard shoulder has a speed limit of 50. No, it's that one. Next. On a smart motorway, what does this sign mean? Right, it means all lanes are open and are subject to a 50 miles per hour speed limit. So use any lane except the hard shoulder. No. Use the hard shoulder. No. Use the 3 right lanes only. No. Use all lanes including the hard shoulder. Correct. Next. There we go. Lovely. There we go. So, I did get one wrong, but you saw I gave you the correct answer, but probably just picked on slightly the wrong answer.
You were robbed, man.
I told you that you need to be with your car, but away from the carriageway. So,
Let it go, dude. You're only human.
alright. But I mean, you know, 98%, that's still good enough. That'll pass the theory.
That's for sure.
Yeah, 98%. So, we're all human.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
I suppose what I should have done there, we can all learn from this, is look at the answers and go with the one that is the safest, I suppose. I mean, if we look at it, well, we don't want next to the phone and we don't want on the hard shoulder because that's dangerous and that doesn't help us. We do want to be with a vehicle and we want to be away from the carriageway. I suppose if it was with your vehicle, maybe they're implying that you stand right next to your vehicle, which of course is stupid. You should be away from the carriageway. So I can see why they've come up with that answer, but actually the answer is both.
Let it go, dude.
In the real world. But you can work out from that which one would make the more sense, and away from the carriageway makes a bit more sense. So that's just me being stupid. But hey ho. It gets to you doing all of this stuff, you know. Never mind. Anyway, hope that helps. Cheers.